What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Off the Couch Boxing. I'm your host, the one and only Rexx Ruger. This is my partner, the always quiet but never silent Alexis Arguello. We got another kick-ass boxing conversation, the best place on the planet to get boxing conversations. We got one here. Our guest is here, and we're going to let him in and chop it up. Let's do it. Brandon, we made it work, right?
Hey, we're in. Oh, thank God.
It did take a minute.
Actually.
Yeah, it kind of threw me for a minute too, because I'm not great with technology either. So I was like, meeting code. I think I sent that, but I'm not sure. But still, glad we got a chance to do this. Brandon McCARThy, and you're just actually starting your boxing career, right? Only one fight in.
Yeah, well, I'm only starting my professional career. I've had a long amateur
professional
career.
So. Yeah, and so I'm not really sure how you explain this right here, but I don't know if you can see this or not, but obviously BoxRec has you down at 69-15.
Yeah,
is that your amateur? Is that your amateur record?
Nah, I'm missing a lot off that now. I have about 240 amateur fights. Now the 15 losses are correct already.
I got to tell you, BoxRec, I know firsthand from doing this, BoxRec screws up constantly. I don't know who's running BoxRec, but somebody's asleep. Yeah, somebody's asleep at the wheel over at BoxRec. I don't know what's going on over there, but so let's chop it up here for a minute, man. Like, how did you get into boxing, man? Like, were you somebody that got in a lot of fights when you were young?
No, my dad used to box, and then he was coaching as well, so he got me into it. He brought me to the boxing gym when I was 6 years of age, while he was doing a bit of training, and then he got into the coaching side of it then, and I used to like it when I was younger, so he started taking me doing a little bit of training at home, and I just liked it, and he seen I had the talent for it, so that's where it all started.
And did you have, like, when you're growing up, like, you know how we all have those kind of like sports heroes, who are the boxing idols for you?
I used to like Manny Pacquiao. My dad was a big fan of him, so I used to remember when I was young. I was only 6 or 7. I used to be staying up until 3 or 4 in the morning back home to watch Pacquiao fighting when I was on over here in Vegas. So Pacquiao was always someone I looked up to when I probably first started out boxing. I wouldn't be a big boxing fan anyway. I wouldn't know everyone, or I wouldn't know any old-time fighters and stuff like that, but Pacquiao is the one I always remember.
And do you feel like it was, do you feel like it was necessary to make the move from Ireland to come to the United States to have a successful boxing career? Do you feel like this is the place where you have to be?
Yeah, this is the spot you need to be in. Especially, it's a business now, the professional side of it, and for business, the likes of being over in America, it's well better for me, because professional boxing in Ireland, it's only beginning to grow again at the minute. It's not as big as what it is in many other countries around the world. So I like being over here and already thrown straight into the mix. You know what I mean? It's well developed over here. The professional game, it's a business over here. So I like being over here and learning every day little things inside and outside about the game.
Which seems funny, because the Irish, I have a lot of Irish blood in me as well, and it seems like the Irish have a propensity for fighting. Like, obviously there's a whole traveler community over there. It seems like that's how they've settled things for years and years and years, going out on the back roads and beating the shit out of each other.
Yeah, no, definitely. No, amateur boxing in Ireland is booming. We're one of the best countries in the world for amateur boxing. It's just the professional side of things. It's not as developed as what it is over in the States here. But a lot of young lads, especially the amateur club I came up in now, there would be a lot of travellers in around the town, and they're great people. They're lovely people. But they're fighting since they're 3 and 4 years of age back home with their brothers, their sisters, everyone. So they're naturally born to fight, and I feel that helped me a lot in my career coming up, because I was always inspiring them and in training with them, and I was surrounded by them the whole time. So it kind of toughened me up and got me rough and ready, to handle whatever I get in the ring. And so I think that was a great thing for me.
And now, so who are you a fan of? Like, if you could step back like a little bit and look at the sport from a fan standpoint, who are some guys that are doing it right now that you're a fan of?
I'm a fan of even all the stuff with Haney and Garcia.
I know, obviously, you kind of look at them all as potential, opponents or whatever. Yeah, but on a fan level, you must be able to admire what some of these guys are doing.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Devin Haney now. I know everything that's going on with Garcia and everything, but I think he's a true athlete. Everything he does is by the book. He doesn't, like professional boxing. You need to sell yourself, your business. And I see the way Ryan Garcia sold himself compared to Devin Haney. It was two completely different ways. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But from a fan looking on the outside, whatever Devin Haney does, it's brilliant. I take a lot from him now. You know, he's a proper professional in the sport.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, he handles himself very well.
Yeah, he does. He doesn't lose track of himself. He knows where he is. You know what I mean? He does it right. And yeah, I look up to him. I try to take in stuff he does.
But I mean, I think a lot of the world was surprised by the outcome of that fight, though. Did that completely shock you?
I said it. I was only saying it to Tommy there not too long ago. I said I'll never predict a fight again or never judge, because I had Haney winning that fight hands down easy. I just thought he would have outboxed him, and then I was shocked by it, and I was like, but at the end, look, that's boxing, isn't it? You can't that's that's the way the game goes.
Yeah, it is too. And now, when you say Tommy, who are you referring to?
Tommy Hyde. You had him on here a couple of weeks ago, I think.
I've had him on. I wanted to make sure that, and he was actually the one who schooled me on. I think when I had him on, I asked him about how much the word "dosser" is really used, because we hear Tyson Fury say "dosser" a lot, and Tommy actually schooled me on in his region of the world. The equivalent of that would be calling somebody a langer.
Well, as Tommy says, a langer is a useful thing.
Yeah. It's true.
I'm sure Tommy told you what a langer is, but
he did.
That's what he always says anyway.
He filled me in. He did fill me in. You learn something new all the time.
Exactly.
And so a lot has been made about these. On here I've been critical of them, and I've had a lot of my guests have been critical of them, and I usually refer to them as gimmick fights. But when you see these MMA guys, fighting against boxers, or like when you see these Jake Paul type fights, are you a fan of these? Do you think these are good for the sport?
No, I'm not a fan of it. I know a few people back home in Ireland as well. They're kind of gone into that kind of influencer boxing side of stuff, and you know what? I respect them for what they're doing. Right, they're great business people. They know how to sell themselves. They know how to put tickets on seats, people to view videos and stuff like that. But in my opinion, just stay in your own lane. Do what you're good at. Don't be jumping into someone else's lane, because the likes of me and other boxers here, like we put our life into this, 16, 17 years of it. And just because likes of them guys have a big following and numbers online, it puts a lot of boxers like us into the shadow. Actual boxers, if you get me.
Yeah, as a young guy, starting out in the sport, and as you mentioned, you're doing it for years and years and years. Then these guys come along and just kind of step into the limelight, and they get big paydays, and they find themselves getting ranked and over guys that have been working really, really hard.
Yeah, it's shocking. The rankings, the paydays they're getting, it's crazy. But then at the end of the day, that's one thing I've learned about professional boxing. It's a business. It doesn't make an odds how good you are. It's about how good you can sell yourself.
It's marketing. A lot of it's marketing.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, it is. And so does Brandon McCarthy.
Them guys do it. They do it very well. Like, that's their full-time job, So they're expanding into the business side or the boxing side of it now as well. But
and now, forgive me for not knowing this, but I'm a big nickname guy. Does Brandon McCarthy have a boxing nickname?
No, I actually don't have one yet. Now, no, I'm not rushing into that. I've had a few people give me options and stuff, but I haven't actually decided on anything yet.
Options or suggestions? Like, people have given you suggestions?
Yeah, some people have given me suggestions and stuff, but I'm not too pushed. When something comes and something sticks, then that'll be it. Once it's something good, anyway.
Do you remember any of the suggestions?
Yeah, a few people said the Ghost. I actually got called the Ghost when I first came over to LA because I was so white. And I don't get much sun back home. And I remember training in the gym one day, and a fella says to me, "You're like a ghost. You're just pure white." And then a few people started calling me that, and I was kind of sticking a small bit. So there was a few options that people were giving me over here, but I'm in no rush to pick anything yet. Anyway, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's one thing about us. Yeah, that's one thing about us people with Irish blood. We don't tan well.
No, not one bit at all. No, in fairness, the weather's been good in LA now. I'm getting a small bit of a tan, but when I first started coming over, I just used to turn red, and you just laughing at me in the gym. But
now, for you, And of course, this is completely subjective. But for you, who would your Mount Rushmore of boxing be? The 4 guys for you that are just the pinnacle for you.
Boom. Tough question.
I mean, you named Pacquiao. I'm assuming Pacquiao would be on there. Yeah.
He'll definitely be one of them. Yeah. Floyd Mayweather, definitely the most best defensive fighter I've ever watched. I think. I don't think there's anyone that can match him. He's definitely there. Another Irish legend, Katie Taylor. Have to put her there anyway. What Katie's done for Ireland and for women's boxing is unreal. Do you know what I mean? It's great to take inspiration from that as well, being an Irish person too. Like, from a small country of 5 million, what we can do. So,
and I like the fact that you put a woman on there too.
Yeah, definitely. She's an Irish woman, an Irish man. Once he's Irish, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
And my last one then, Prince Naseem. I actually like Prince Naseem.
Oh yes.
Yeah. He had style. He had everything. Back in them days as well, he knew how to sell himself too. Before all this YouTubing and YouTubers came in and videos and social media, he knew how to sell himself.
I think a lot of times, man, the Irish cuisine often gets overlooked because it just seems like everybody chalks it up to just, corned beef, cabbage, potatoes. What's the go-to meal for you back in Ireland, though? Because the Irish are not known for their cuisine. I feel like we're constantly getting, beaten up for our lack of food choices.
Variety.
Yeah, options. Yeah.
Yeah. Back home, I don't know. It'd have to be in the grandmother's Christmas dinner. Like, if there's one thing I could ever have back home, we always go to my nanny's house every year for a Christmas dinner, the whole family. That would be just turkey, ham, potatoes, Brussels sprouts, the usual. But we don't really have much of a variety in Ireland of food. Like, you know what I mean? I like pastas as well. I'm a big pasta.
Right. So, like, if someone were to come over to Ireland and you were to say, "Hey, you're here on vacation in Ireland, you've got to try."
A chicken fillet roll.
A chicken Philly roll?
Chicken fillet roll.
Oh, okay.
Definitely. It's a white roll, chicken fillet on it, butter, mayonnaise, lettuce, and cheese. Every time I go home, my go-to. Now, not healthy for me now. Puts on the weight as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's probably
not well deserved.
That's not going to be your best friend when you're cutting weight, right?
No. That's why I only have it after fights when I go home.
I'm pretty sure when I had Tommy on here that I think he was really pushing the Irish stew.
Yeah, Tommy, I actually don't like stew. I don't know. It's weird. Like, it's weird, but Irish stew is a big thing. But for me, it's just something I never really like. So I never really say about Irish stew, but a lot of people do like an Irish stew. So I presume if you do go to Ireland, definitely try an Irish stew on you.
And obviously, one of the biggest fucking menu options is probably beer.
Oh yeah, Guinness.
It's got its own food group.
Yeah, we don't even need the food; we just go on the drink.
Yeah, and so if you got to go in and spar, or perform the round of your life, or really get yourself pumped up, and you can put the earbuds on, and you got that one song. What's that one song for you that could really pump you up?
Probably it's a song I actually see. I remember I went to my first pro show and there was a walkout and there was a song by The Script, Hall of Fame. I remember someone walked out to that and I said I was going to walk out to that song one day. So I would listen back to that now the odd bit and we'll get a bit of a inspiration from it and just kind of a flashback. I think it was only like 11 or 12 when I went to my first professional show and that song, someone walked out to it and I remember the buzz I got off that.
And now, what are your plans? Obviously, we're a couple months into 2024. How active would you like to be here the rest of the year? What are your plans like for the rest of 2024?
Yeah, so I'm out next again in 4 weeks now, the 5th of June, down in Florida. So I'll be fighting down there in Florida on the 5th of June. And then I'm hoping every 6 to 8 weeks, just till the end of the year, get another 4 fights in, I hope, by the end of the year. If I get to the end of the year and I'm 5-0, it would be a good year.
And you're currently at what weight right now?
I want to fight at 135.
You fight at 125 now, but do you feel like in the future? 135, which is a division that is really, really, really popping right now. I mean, That seems to be where all the stars are nowadays. 135 is a popping division right now. It really is.
We're all like sardines in a tin.
I know, you're not kidding. Now, do you feel like that'll be? Now, do you feel like that weight division will be home for a while, or do you feel like you'll eventually like outgrow it?
I don't know. This was kind of my weight in the amateurs. It's actually a small bit lighter than what it was in the amateurs, but the past couple of years I haven't really seen myself growing. But I'm going to stay this way for the time being anyway. And if time comes then and I do grow a bit and I do develop more, then obviously I will push up to 140. But that's for the team to sit down and judge. But at the minute it's just about the weight doesn't really matter. It's just about getting the experience, getting the fights up. Do you know what I mean? In the early days, and then when it comes to the big fights, and then we decide what's the best for the body, what weight, you know, all that kind of stuff.
Now let's chop it up about that 135-pound division. Who's the kingpin in that division right now? Is it still Tank?
For me, yeah, I think Tank. Yeah, Shakur Stevenson though, I don't like. He's not getting the fights, but I think he could be. Yeah, I don't know. Between him and Tank, anyway, I think Shakur has the beatings of Tank, in my opinion. But again, I had my opinion on Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia a few weeks ago too.
Well, you don't got to feel bad about that opinion. I think everybody was drastically off on that one. You know what I mean? Like I don't think anybody saw that coming at all.
I think a lot of people were wrong on that one now, in fairness. So I actually don't mind that one. But for me, Shakur, I think Shakur has a bit more of a boxing IQ to outbox Tank. But look, boxing again. At the end of the day, one shot can change a whole fight. So who knows?
And then what do you make of the big 135-pound showdown? I know he's getting a little bit long in the tooth, and people are criticizing his age, but we're going to see Kambosos and Lomachenko tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to that now as well.
And I love Lomachenko. I really do love Lomachenko.
I love Lomachenko too. Yeah. I love him. Absolutely amazing. I just think he said the amateurs for too long. Do you know what I mean? He had his run into professional, but it was just his amateur career was the highlight of him. You know that, especially that second Olympic gold medal. I think if times were different and he didn't go for that and he had turned over, then it would be completely different. Lomachenko we're looking at today.
Yeah, now that was a very tough and controversial and polarizing decision. But what did you make of the Lomachenko and Devin Haney fight when they fought last year?
Yeah, I actually had Lomachenko winning it, but close. Me too. Close. You know what I mean? If it went the other way, Haney couldn't complain either. I feel. Do you know what I mean? If Lomachenko had have got it, but I just thought Lomachenko had done enough, in my opinion, to nick it.
Now, were you really, really upset? And how did you process like not having a shot to go, to go to the Olympics in Paris? Was that a heartbreaker for you?
Oh, it was brutal for me, to be honest with you. It was one of the worst times in my life. You know, I was down at my lowest. Everything was going wrong for me. Nothing was right. Injuries upon injuries, and you know, it was a lifelong goal for me since I started boxing. I was 6 years of age. You know what I mean? And then it all got took away from me in the space of a couple of weeks, and it just left me stunned. But everything happens for a reason. You know what I mean? And maybe that reason was to get me over to LA here to turn professional and to start my career over here. And it's probably the best thing that ever happened to me now.
Right.
Looking back.
Now you seem very in tune and invested, along with your team in like what your career goals and plans are. Obviously we've seen, case in point, a guy like Lomachenko, he's fighting for a world title in his second fight. A lot of these guys, are on the fast track. How soon, what's the timetable for you? Have you discussed it with your team? How soon you'd like to be in title fights?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, look, I'm only 23 as well, and I feel I've turned over at the right time. I've had enough amateur experience. I've had amateur experience at an elite level as well. So we're not going to rush too much. It's a big change coming from amateur into professional game. So I want to make sure I'm learning every day in the gym, taking my time and getting everything right, because I feel losing in the amateurs is nothing. You're back in the gym the next day. You can go. But a loss in the professional game is a big difference. You know what I mean? And it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. But that's the way it is now. You know, like you get 1 or 2 losses on your record. It doesn't matter who it was. No one's really interested in you anymore. So I want to take my time and make sure that I'm 100% before I start taking big fights. But I'm hoping to start off with a few small titles next year. Hopefully. Yeah. Towards the end of next year, I want to have a couple of fights in. You know what I mean? Small titles and picking them up along the way. So. That's the plan we've discussed at the minute anyway, but it's early days. Yeah.
Hey, listen, Brandon, I really appreciate you doing this. I'm glad you took the time, and I'm glad we got a chance to chop it up here for a little bit. I do hope you'll stay in touch. I'd love to have you back on again. As soon as you're the kingpin at 135, don't forget the little guys that had you on.
No, I'll never forget the people that were there at the start. That's one thing I always said.
Keep us in mind. Keep us in mind, man. I'm Team Brandon McCarthy all the way, man.
Yes.
So, so like when you're polishing up that gold belt and I need you to come on for an interview, don't forget me.
Oh, I'll be over. I'll be first class.
But the next time that we talk, I'll try to have a nickname for you a lot better than the Ghost. You know, Frank Martin's already got that one. There can't be two Ghosts at 135.
I know that exactly. That's why I've left it off now, and I'm not too pushed on it. When something comes, it'll come.
I mean, maybe you can get a fight with Frank, and maybe that could be, on the line. You guys could be fighting for the Ghost nickname.
We're fighting for the name. We don't even want the money. We're just fighting for the name.
I'm telling you, man, you got a great sense of humor, man, and it was really fun talking to you. And make sure you say hi to Tommy Hyde for me, man, and call him a langer for me, please.
I'll tell him he's a langer. I will do.
Please do that. Yeah.
Thanks very much for having me on.
Been great talking to you, Brandon. I appreciate it, man. Stay in touch.
Will do. 100%. Thanks very much.
Yeah. Best of luck next month.
You too. Cheers.
Thank you. Soon.
See ya. Bye.
Bye. There he goes, folks. Brandon McCarthy, a young man that's on the come up. Only one professional fight, but he is Irish, for fuck's sake, which you know what that means, kids out there. The Irish are the toughest. I don't know. We've been over this before, and I think we've gone over this before in past episodes. Nobody's tougher than the Irish. So that kid's going places, and you heard him say he's not going to forget the little people, man. That's a friend of the show. We've adopted him. Off the Couch Boxing has adopted him. So make sure to support Brandon McCarthy all the way from Ireland. Now he's here in the States, going to make his mark at 135. Of that, I have no doubt. So hope you guys enjoyed that. Thanks so much for Brandon McCarthy, who's yet to have a nickname. So anybody's got any suggestions? He's only been hit so far with the suggestion of the Ghost, which he seemed a little wishy-washy on, and I could understand it. I mean, Frank Martin is already at 135 pounds. He is called the Ghost. We've seen Kelly Pavlik. He was the Ghost. Or wait a minute, was Kelly Pavlik the Ghost? Or maybe that was Robert Guerrero. I don't know. There's been a lot of ghosts in boxing, man. So that's not, I don't think, the route for Brandon McCarthy to go. And I think even he knows that, man. The Irish are tough and also very wise. So I don't think he's going to go that route. But hope you guys enjoyed that episode, man. Make sure to like and follow us on Facebook, and make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, because this is the place for the best boxing conversations. This is where people in the fight game come to chop it up on the real, right here. So thanks, Brandon McCarthy. Really appreciate him coming on here, man. And I want to make sure to remind all you guys that if you want to be a champion, make sure that you're tapping into Off the Couch Boxing Podcast, and remember to roll with the champs.